If you clicked on this video, you're probably looking to upgrade your current streaming PC or build a completely new gaming rig that's going to put out some serious FPS. Or you accidentally clicked on it while scrolling through cat memes and Minecraft fails. Either way, you're here now, so let's talk about the 4070 Ti Super. Not only the most sought after graphics card, but arguably one of the best price to performance cards on the market right now, at least when you're talking about NVIDIA. Now, if you're a streamer, a video editor, or just a gamer that wants to play at the highest quality possible, this is the card to do the job without spending next year's entire beer budget in one go. So pull up a stool as we break down the ultimate PC build designed specifically to maximize the performance of the RTX 4070 Ti Super. No matter what you're doing, this build is going to ensure that you get the most out of this GPU. Cheers to each and every one of my subscribers. I know that I do this on a pretty regular basis, but we officially hit 1,000 subscribers last week, and I, from the bottom of my heart, couldn't be happier that you have all come to join me here in the Pixel Pub. If you're new here, my name's Devin, and if you've been here before, I've got your usual coming right up. Cheers. We're going to start this build off with the CPU. For the best possible performance with the 4070 Ti Super, we're going to be using the Intel Core i7-14700K. Now, this thing is an absolute monster. With 20 cores, 28 threads, this is going to be everything that your PC needs to handle gaming, streaming, and whatever else you throw at it. Now, if you're opposed to an Intel CPU at the moment, I don't blame you. I've got a couple of AMD alternatives coming up. But if you do go for this 14700K, you'll want to make sure you update your BIOS as soon as possible. I know updating things is the last thing that you all want to do, but trust me, this is the best thing that you can do at the moment to avoid all the oxidation and degradation issues that Intel has been having. But not sure exactly what those words mean? Just update your BIOS, okay? If you're not interested in immediately updating your BIOS and hoping that your brand new 13th or 14th gen CPU won't randomly die on you, I would consider the i9-12900K. It's the older sibling who already went through that rebellious teenage phase, and now it just kind of wants to sit quietly and do really, really well. So that's actually what I've got in my current computer, and it has been more than enough for anything that I've needed. Just not that into Intel though, that's completely fine, you do you. While I still feel like those Intel CPUs have some of the best benefits for streaming and things like video editing, AMD CPUs are catching up really quick and really, really great for gaming. For all my Team Red fans out there, the Ryzen 9 7950X is typically what I recommend for this type of build and for content creators. With its 16 cores and 32 threads, it's powerful, it's fast, and it's ready to completely rock your gaming computer without burning a hole in your wallet. Okay, well, maybe at least a small hole, but hey, honestly, it's probably worth it. Want something even newer and maybe a little bit more budget friendly that's still going to get the job done? Check out the brand new Ryzen 9 9900X. Still going to give you some top tier performance with maybe leaving a little bit of extra cash for some tacos, because let's be honest, tacos are really important. The 14700K actually runs pretty cool, runs a lot cooler than a lot of people assume. With a 125 watt TDP, a decent air cooler like the $35 Thermalright Peerless Assassin 120 is gonna get the job done just fine. But if you're looking for something a little bit fancier and want some of that sweet looking AIO bling, then go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. Something like the Corsair iQOO H150i is always a good bet. Or check out the Trix Panorama if you want something really fancy. All right, time for the motherboard. We're gonna try to get through these other components pretty darn quick. We're gonna go with the Asus ROG Strix Z790H. Why? Because it's got all of the features that you're gonna need. DDR5 support, PCIe 5.0, 4 M.2 slots, and not gonna lie, I think it looks pretty darn cool. let's talk about memory to go with it. Wait a second, what was I going to recommend here? Oh yeah, this awesome kit of Corsair Vengeance DDR5, 32 gigabytes, 6000 megahertz RAM. Can't go wrong here. But do you actually need 32 gigabytes of RAM? If you're streaming or you're video editing, yes, just do it. Honestly, if you're just focused on gaming, just probably do it. But the answer really comes down to, depends on what games you're playing. But for the most part, if you want to play something relatively new, just do it. It's cheap enough. It's not going to be that much more expensive, and you're building a machine to complement the 4070 Ti Super. So just do it. For storage though, we're going to go with the Silicon Power UD90 1 terabyte NVMe solid state drive. It's a PCIe Gen 4 drive, so it's pretty darn fast. This is also one of those super configurable options though, so make sure you get what you need. Some people are okay with 1 terabyte of storage. I never look at anything smaller than 2 terabytes at this point, but do what's right for you based on how many different games you want to play at any given time and how many videos you're editing at any given time. Definitely not less than 1 terabyte though. You're gonna thank me later. Just go bigger right away. All right, as far as the GPU goes, you are probably aware that with this build, we're utilizing the RTX 4070 Ti Super. But let's talk for a second really quick. What exactly do the Ti and the Super actually mean? Do you really need them over the standard 4070? So NVIDIA's Ti stands for titanium. And not because of the material that it's made out of, but it usually represents a much more powerful version of the base model of the GPU within the same lineup. Typically more CUDA cores, higher clock speeds, and better memory compared to the non-Ti model. So a big yes on all of those. The Super is branding that is usually used for upgraded versions of existing GPUs, typically as a mid-generation refresh. So NVIDIA usually releases Super versions when they want to boost the performance of an existing card without creating an entirely new architecture. A Super model often has more VRAM, faster clock speeds, or a better price to performance ratio compared to the non-Super version. With the pricing of the 4070 Ti Super compared right now to that of the 4070 and the 4070 Super, the 4070 Ti Super is a big win. At the moment, you can find the 4070 Ti Super for right around that $799 price point. Sometimes a little under for the cheaper brands, and a little bit over if you want a specific model, if you want a specific color, something like a white card, or a model that's just a little bit more popular. Sometimes the pricing can go up. I ended up going with the MSI Ventus as it's right at that $799 price point and from a pretty solid, reputable brand. But otherwise, Asus and Gigabyte are also brands that I would feel 100% comfortable buying from. Now, the case is definitely the spot that you want to make this computer yours. It's what you're going to be seeing every day. Get something that is going to make you happy. Now, I would typically recommend going somewhere around that $70 to $150 range though. Anything under that, and you're typically getting what you pay for. Anything over that is typically overkill unless you really want that model, that look, that color, that extra screen in your case. But either way, I went with the NZXT H6 Flow for this build, sitting right at that $110. It was a pleasure to build in. When I built this computer right here, had everything I would want and more. Really cool design, not to mention came with 3 fans pre-installed, ready to go. So that's definitely something extra that you don't have to buy if you want to go with this case. But remember, get something that you're going to be happy with. Now, the MSI 4070 Ti Super can take up to 285 watts of power, and MSI's website recommends at least a 700 watt power supply to power it. I always recommend jumping up to the next level because of all of those USB devices you're going to be using. Remember, your webcam, your headset, your microphone, controller, all of those things take power too. So my go-to power supply is always the Corsair RM850E to keep this whole machine running smoothly. I'd also recommend getting some cable extensions to really make this build look just really nice. I love it. They're so inexpensive, so how much nicer they make the build look, I just can't not recommend them. So how much is this whole build going to set you back? At the time of filming, PC Part Picker is telling me right at $1,850. When you add in the extra cost of a Windows license, mouse and keyboard, anything else that you don't have, tax and shipping, you're probably looking right at about the $2,000 mark USD. That, my friends, is the cost of pure gaming bliss though, and streaming freedom. And let's be honest, worth every penny if you plan on gaming and streaming any game at any quality at any time. If you're interested in what the full AMD version of this beast of a computer looks like, I built a full Ryzen 7 7800X3D computer right here that you might like. I'll see you over there.